let's clear this and let's enter this. So it's 12 cosine. I'm going to use x again because it's more convenient. And then it's 12 cosine squared, so I need a square on this. So hit this key right there and then put a 2. That's 12 cosine squared. So remember, one side has to be 0 when I work it this way. So the 9 has to come over. So that's going to become a minus 9. There you have it. Okay, so then I'm going to go to zoom and hit 7. There's my graph. Okay, so what I'm concerned about is this point, this point, this point, and this point, as long as they're in the interval from 0 to 2 pi. So I'm going to do the trace again, and then hit the arrow, the right arrow, and then slow down. Okay, so there, right there, you see x equals 30, y equals 0. That's an intercept, so 30 is a 0, which is a solution. So 30 degrees then is a solution to the equation. Keep going. Stop right there. Notice 150, y equals 0. 150 is a 0, so it's a solution. That's another answer. Keep on going. Remember, we want it to be less than 360. Stop right there. Notice again, 210, y equals 0. 210 is another solution. Keep going. Okay, slow down here. Okay, we're right there at the axis. 330, y equals 0. X equals 30. That's 330 degrees. That's a solution. Now, if I keep on going, there are some other solutions over here. Many solutions. There's some over here to the left. But we're only looking at the ones in the interval from 0 to 360, or eventually 0 to 2 pi. So if I keep going, notice I'm already at 360 there. So yes, there will be a solution here, but it's going to be a repeated solution to one that I found earlier. So in this case, I stop, and the solutions in the interval from 0 to 360 are 30 degrees, 150, 210, and 330. Now they want the answers in degrees, so all you would do is multiply each of those by pi over 180, and reduce those, and you should get 5 pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, 7 pi over 6, and 11 pi over 6, respectively. So again, that's pi over 6, 5 pi over 6, 7 pi over 6, 11 pi over 6 for those solutions. Now, this trace feature method that I'm using here will work nicely if you have exact solutions. Okay, integer solutions like what we had here. We had nice round figures of 30, 150, 210, 330. But if the answer is going to be a decimal, in general, this method is not going to work, so we have to do it another way. Let me show you one like that. Let's say number 3. This one says, use a calculator to solve each equation on the interval from 0 to 2 pi. So let's look at A. B's work the same way. So we want, again, the solution in radians, but I'm still going to do it in degrees because it's easier to work it this way. So I'm going to enter sine x, close parentheses. Again, one side has to be 0, so I got to bring this over to this side. So I'll make that plus, and then that's going to be 0.88. So then I'm going to go to zoom 7. There's my graph. Okay, now I'm only interested from this point onto the right. Okay, so you can see that there appears to be an intersect right here and one right there. So let's do the trace feature here. Let's see what happens. So I'll go trace and then hit the enter key. slow down as I get to the x-axis here. Okay, so there it appears that I'm on the x-axis, and I have 225 here. But see, this is not 0, so it's not giving me an answer that I can use. Keep going. See, the y is not 0, so that's not working. So if I go to the next one, okay, I get close to the x-axis, and I get 300 there. This is not 0, so that's not working there. See, so what I'll do is I use the method that I use with logarithmic and exponential equations, and use the 0 method. So hit second, hit the trace key again, but this time because I hit the second key, I'm accessing the calculate menu there. So hit that. Okay, so I'm going to use number 2. Menu number 2 is 0, so hit 2. Okay, so the way that works is I need the cursor. See, it asks me for a left bound for the 0 that I'm looking for, so I put it to the left of the first one. Okay, so right there, and then I'm going to hit enter. Okay, and then I'm going to go right bound, and hit enter. The guess you can ignore and hit enter, and this gives me a 0 of 241. So this is a solution. Notice this is 0 right here, so it's 241.6 degrees. Now I could do the next one the same way. Go second, calculate, and then 2. So put it to the left there, hit enter, and then go past it, hit enter, ignore the guess, and hit enter. And the next one gives me an answer of 298. Notice I do have y equals 0, so this is a solution and it's approximation. So to 2 places, this is 298.36 degrees. Okay. Now, the answer comes out to decimal, so to get this into radians, you'd have to multiply these by pi over 180, and you would get 4.22 radians for the first answer and 5.21 for the second one. Now, if you have decimals in the problem, like this one here and this one here, then generally in those types of problems, you're not going to have an exact solution like I had in the first one, the first 2 that I did. And if they want the answer in radians, in that case, then it's probably better to work it with radians. So set it to radians. Okay. I'm going to work the same problem, except now I'm going to do it in radians. So I'm going to go to zoom 7. Okay, there's my graph. So again, I know it's not going to come out exact, so I'm used to 0 method. So go second, trace, actually in the calculate menu, and hit 2 for 0, and then I'm going to try to get the first one, which is about right in there. So put the cursor right to the left of that point, somewhere in there, and then hit enter. And then it's going to prompt you for a right bound. So go past that point, somewhere in there, hit enter. Then it's going to prompt you for a guess. You can just ignore that and just hit enter. Okay, so this gives me 2 places, 4.22. But remember, in this case, that represents radians because the calculator is set to radians. So the solution to this equation, or one solution, is 4.22 radians. Okay, let's try to get the second one. Again, hit second, calculate, hit 2, and then put the cursor to the left of the next point, hit enter, then past it, hit enter, ignore the guess, hit enter, and this gives me 2 places, 5.21 and that's, notice y equals 0, so it is a solution. That's an approximation, 5.21 radians. So in this case, you don't have to do any conversion. That's your solution. Now you might want to notice, well, how can I tell if there's an intersection there? You can kind of tell it, but if you want to get a little bit closer, you can kind of zoom in. So put the cursor right there and say zoom in. Hit enter. And you can get a little closer. You get a closer look so you can see that it does cross there. And any other solutions to this would have gone past the 2 pi. So those are the two solutions that fall in the interval from 0 to 2 pi, or in degrees from 0 to 360. Again, just keep in mind that if a trig equation does have a solution, it has an infinite number of solutions. Most often they'll ask you for the solutions in the main interval from 0 to 2 pi or 0 to 360 degrees. Okay? See you in the next video.